I still remember my first day here at 74 Mackenzie Gardens. Robbie had spotted me in his local branch of Curry's, and a week later I found myself in his kitchen. I was giddy with excitement to have been chosen by somebody, to be proudly shown off to Robbie's friends when they came round for the inevitable barbecue or football match, and I'd dole out the beers and steaks ever willing to please. I quickly became the hub of the house, a central figure in everyone's lives. I'd provide refreshments, and they'd reciprocate with a bit of company or maybe a juicy tidbit of gossip here or there. I saw myself as the mother of the group back then, providing meals and keeping a watchful eye over everyone. I still remember my first year here, by the endless parade of faces, by the meals and drinks and snacks. Chips, dips and beers with the boys, spaghetti carbonara and Chardonnay with Charlene and Terry, assorted pizzas and cola for film nights with the whole gang. And then, in our second year together, Robbie met Ellen. It wasn't long before she became just as much a feature of the house as I was, possibly even more so. There were lots of meals in together, Chinese, Italian, Mexican, Indian. After the first week or so, she was there almost every night of the week, sharing meals with us, with him. She moved in after only 3 months. Things changed then. The bottles of beer that were once a staple in the house became bottles of wine. The fried breakfasts became muesli. The cheese and tins of beans became fresh fruit and vegetables. And the parties and social engagements tailed off almost completely. I was so used to a steady stream of people coming and going, and now there were only 2. And they much seemed to prefer each other's company to mine. They started dining out together in fancy restaurants, and what with them both working half the day, barely even looked at me anymore. Still, I tried my best to keep a stiff upper lip and not get jealous. I kept an eye on everyone's schedule and reminded them when they needed to pay the bills or had a checkup at the dentist's. They might not need me at meal times, I thought, but I still keep this household running. And then they got married. Oh, it didn't bother me as much as you might think. I'd long since realised that Ellen was an inevitability and not a force worth fighting. Things changed then, as they do when young couples are first wed. They held dinner parties. Small, sedate affairs, mostly attended by the other married couples they knew, but occasionally co-opted to introduce this single friend to that eligible suitor. They toyed with haute cuisine, flirted with the sophistication of champagne and caviar, served choice cuts of meat with fine wines, followed by the adult delights of sorbet or the notorious cheese board. They played at being refined, just as children play at wearing mummy's high heels or shaving just like daddy. Still, it was good to be back in the saddle again. The dinner parties eventually petered out, as did the nights out in fancy restaurants. They started spending their evenings at home in front of the television, eating more comforting, homely meals such as stews and casseroles and lasagnas. The much insisted upon bottles of wine began slowly to be replaced once again by bottles of beer and of cola. They became happy in their own isolated little world, just the 2 of them. But not for long. Ellen fell pregnant. Things continued as normal for a while, but slowly, as Ellen's belly began to swell, so too did the stream of family and friends wanting to congratulate the happy couple on their little miracle. Faces I hadn't seen in 2 years, that I'd once known so well, were brought back to life, and it was as though nothing had changed, although so much had. And then little Harry was born. The bottles of beer were once again ousted, this time by bottles of baby milk, and healthy eating became the order of the day. Ellen stopped working and started spending most of her time with either little Harry or with me. I kept an eye on everyone's schedule as ever and helped Ellen to have a hearty meal on the table by the time Robbie got home from work. We were a family at last. And when little Harry started at nursery, I was often presented with his latest drawings and paintings, and I wore those with such pride. "That's our boy," I used to say to myself. But as ever, little boys grow up much too quickly, and soon the paintings became replaced by awards and certificates from school, and then the letters and photos he sent home from university. And just as Harry's grown, so have I. I'm so old now. Robbie and Ellen have noticed. I creak and leak occasionally now. I know they're going to replace me with a younger model. I just wish I could tell them just how proud I've been to be part of their family for all these years. I wish I could see little Harry one last time before I go, but what 20-year-old man is going to come home to say goodbye to a fridge? No. I should just let it all go. Nothing lasts forever. I'm so tired. I think I'll just take a little nap.